So I want to preface this video in saying that I love Grayzone Warfare. I think it is one of the most special games that has released in probably the past couple of years. In the genre that it released in, it's kind of groundbreaking because it takes what other games in the genre were doing and actually does it, right? If you know what I'm talking about. It just does it. It's a fundamentally good game. Its foundation is there, but it would be disingenuous to say that there are no problems with this game. Of course, you have the basic day 3 at this point early access problems of optimization and performance, some bugs, stuff like that. Very understandable stuff when it comes to a day 3 early access. But regardless of those problems, the foundation of this game is absolutely incredible. With that being said, there is one major problem that I foresee this game having in the future. It's not really so much a problem right now as it's only day 3, but I think we're going to start to see that problem arise more around week 2, week 3, maybe, start of month 2 of the game being in early access. And really that problem is due to content creators, as much as I hate to say it. People who create content and stream for a living can play the game 8 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. What is that problem? What is the major problem that really I see happening with this game? It is the loot aspect of the game. So Grayzone Warfare has released with a phenomenal amount of quests that you can complete. I'm about 10 hours in and I've completed maybe around 20, 25 or so quests. I'm not entirely sure. And still I have a whole bunch more to do. I think they said they released with like over 150 quests, which is impressive. Again, it's another impressive aspect of how they released this game. The problem is that when we run through all of those quests, there's not really much else to do besides hunt PvP. And don't get me wrong, hunting PvP is not a bad thing. Tarkov PvP is what makes Tarkov what it is, along with the loot system. You gotta think though, Tarkov's been in development for 8 years. Let's talk about that for a second. It's been in development for 8 years. We have enough quests to the point where a semi-casual player who plays 4 or 5 hours a night, with the difficulty of some of the quests, won't get it done in a wipe. It just doesn't happen. I actually tried this wipe with Tarkov and I could not get Kappa because I just got stuck on quest after quest, and by the time I made a breakthrough with the quest I was stuck in, I was already tired of doing the quests. I didn't want to do any more stupid quests, so I stopped doing the quest. Grayzone has released with a significant amount less, which is understandable due to it not being in development for 8 years. But the thing is, once we get through those quests, like I said, there's nothing else to do, and the problem lies in the loot aspect of the game. Now, the way that Grayzone has this game set up, and I do want to go ahead and say that the devs have already talked about this, I'm just bringing more attention to it so that they, maybe they'll hear this video and understand that we're probably going to see this issue popping up within the next month. But as I was saying, the developers have made it clear that they don't want it to be a loot gobbling situation. That's not verbatim what they said, obviously, but they don't want a situation entirely like Tarkov, where the two main aspects of the game are to do quests and loot shit, right? And for some people, if they don't do quests because Tarkov quests are stupid, it's just loot. Like me personally, I'm kind of a PvE guy, you know what I'm saying? I like to be in PvP servers, so I get that sometimes, but I like PvE, and I'm a loot goblin. I'll admit that, but they don't want it like that. But the thing about Grayzone is the map is so big, PvP ends up being so rare, and once we get out of these quests where it takes us to certain areas, like for example, I'm Mithras, I know I eat glue, but I go to Hunter's Paradise or Bon Pa right now, but mainly Hunter's Paradise. I go to Hunter's Paradise, and man, there is so much PvP there. I actually got my first squad wipe yesterday. There's just so much PvP. You go there, and unfortunately for a lot of Mithras players, you usually only have one teammate backing you, but you go there and there's so much PvP. So you can get PvP there right now because the quests seem to line up. Once you get out of the starter quests, it ends up being a lot like Tarkov, to where once your starter town is done, you move on to the same areas that all of the other factions would have after their starter towns. So you end up in Hunter's Paradise, you end up in Bon Pa, you end up in YBL. So the PvP is very directed with the quests, but when those quests run out, the PvP and the people on the map are going to be a lot more spread out. Now, of course, we do have some loot areas like YBL, the military base. We have weapons crates down there with some decent loot. But I don't think it's enough. It's not enough of a reason. It doesn't sell for enough to be like, okay, I'm going to do a money run. Because mostly what brings in your profit on Grayzone right now is guns. Guns are bringing in the profit. I'm not sure what the specifics are. I think it's just the more attachments. There's not really a gun that's more rare than the others unless I'm just missing out and completely missing the plot there. So guns are what brings it in. That's not, well, that is actually entirely different from Tarkov, but there's no rare items. Most of the loot that you're finding in these towns, in the starter town especially, are bandanas, sunglasses, backpacks, fanny packs, drinks, tofu, and bamboo, right? The food. Like, that's all you're finding. There is nothing special about looting outside of finding cool guns, which I will admit, when it comes to the loot, looting the lumber mill for the Mithras starting area, finding an SKS, a gun that you don't see on the starter town scavs, or AI. I call them scavs for lack of a better term. Finding that, or like a sick decked out SKS, that is nice. That is awesome. That's intense. I want to get back to base. Let me RTB. Or getting into a firefight with some other PMCs, and one of them, this happened to me yesterday, one of them has a fully decked out 14.5 inch Spectre sighted M4. That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. Let me RTB, right? And we have those experiences in Tarkov. But what makes Tarkov kind of special, especially with the economy of Tarkov, is the fact that you can go out and find these high value items like bitcoins and the vase and the lion. Different items scattered around the map that are special to the lore of Tarkov that rewards you with finding them, because usually they're behind locked doors that you need expensive keys for, or are in because the items spawn there, very high PvP areas. It's very rewarding though, and fits with the lore of the game to find those items, and it also gives it a gameplay loop of its own, because so many people, given the economy and given the price of items, will want to make money so they can afford all the gear that they want to run. Now, I know Grayzone doesn't entirely want to go that route, but to some extent they're going to have to, because not only will the game get boring, unfortunately, after all the quests are done, after you've had your fill of PvP and you just want to explore the map and make some money, not only will the game get boring at that point, because you cannot complete that goal without just looting weapon caches over and over again, and keep in mind you can only bring so many weapons back with you because of backpack size, but you're also going to end up running into the problem of it's going to be so hard to make money without the quests. The way the quests work right now, they give us a fair amount of money for completing them, right? Like at the point that I'm at, 4 to like 7 to 8 grand per quest completion. Now that is a lot of money, but in the scale of things, not really, as a fully decked out M4 on this game without armor, helmet, comtax, I'm not taking any of that into account, is around 4K, and that's with the Spectre sight. I haven't even unlocked the low powered variable optics yet, so I don't know how much those cost, how much an M4 with those type of items would cost. So we're looking at very expensive guns, and once we run out of quests, no way to make money on the scale that we need to continue to supply this gear. Now, I will say, in the aspect of game design, if it's the point to make this high value, very decked out gear rare and hard to acquire, then the quests do not need to be giving us that much money upon completion. But if the goal is for us to, so long as we're completing quests and doing what we need to be doing, if the goal is for us to be able to pretty efficiently purchase that item, even if we're dying sometimes back to back to back, maybe not being able to get our gear back, then we need ways outside of quests to actually earn that money. Because from what I've heard, the wipe system for this game will occur every 6 months. So you have to think, people who enjoy this game, even outside of like a hardcore, I do this for a living streamer, who will probably have all these quests on in around a week and a half, 2-3 weeks, even like casuals such as myself who get to play 4 or 5 hours a night, we're looking at having these quests done with 150 quests in around a month or so. And then it's 5 months of nothing, right? So that's 5 months to where if you want to run enjoyable gear, you're going to have to spend like a whole day or two just scavenging the map for decent guns. Now, I don't know how far people have gotten into Ground Zero, but I will say I don't think there's going to be enough there to counteract this problem, regardless of whether we've explored it or not, because this is, like I said, a problem the developers have already talked about implementing a fix for. I would just recommend, and this is where the video comes in, I feel like this should be on the top of the priority list, along with optimization, performance, bugs, and crashes, because the gameplay loop to keep players interested in the game needs to be there. We need a solid gameplay loop, and the gameplay loop that we have right now is incredible until it's over, right? The gameplay loop we have right now is do quests and PvP. But once the quests are gone and we can't afford the PvP, that's where the loot system comes in. That's where we need the valuable loot. So, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I would really love to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments down below. I personally think this should be very high priority on the list for Madfinger, man, because I want this game to succeed. And the vocal minority are going to come out of the woodworks as soon as streamers start talking about, well, I have nothing to do, I can go PvP and that's it, or wander an open empty map. The vocal minority is going to come out of the woodworks talking shit about this game and putting other people off of it. I personally hope that Madfinger implement a better loot and gameplay loop system for the loot very, very quickly, like within the next month, so we don't have to deal with that, because what we have here, in my opinion, is something very special, something that's going to go a long way. As Big Fry said in one of his most recent videos that I watched, a lot of milsim tactical games that have released in the past little bit would kill for the fucking foundation that grayzone warfare has, thanks to Madfinger Games. And these devs are insane. I've seen on Twitter posts about how hard they've been working to fix some of the major issues from the launch of the game, from day 1 and day 2 and now on to day 3. Like, these are some very hard-working devs. And I think any of the major problems that we do have with the game right now are definitely, thanks to how hard they work, going to be fixed within 2 or 3 weeks. If that, man, if that. But I don't know exactly how long it's going to take to fix a problem like this. And I hope it's not going to be like a 6-month wipe we have to deal with how it is right now. And then that's like the first big batch of content. Like, I just don't feel like that's smart. This is something that needs to be fixed now. And I understand the devs have said they don't want to go full loot goblin mode on the game. That's fine, but we still need some type of efficient way to make money to run these kicks, to give us that third wheel of the gameplay loop with quests, PvP, and looting, man. We need that in a game like this. I want to see this game succeed, and I feel like if they knock this problem out of the way now, this game is going to do solid with what it has for that 6-month wipe until we get the first big batch of content. But I 100%, like I said, want to know what you guys have to say about this in the comments down below. Extremely interested. Let me know how you feel about this. How are you feeling about Grayzone? 3 days in. Very curious. But that's going to do it for me, dudes. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like if you want more content like this to do with milsim, tactical shooters, extraction shooters, and some Dead by Daylight here and there, and also some range videos, like live range videos. We actually have some products to review from a very cool company in a video soon. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. But my name is Tootin. I've been your host, and I will see you dudes next time. Peace out.